Today's lesson is on topic 2 review. It costs $36.75 for 3 tickets to visit the Science Center. It costs $51 for 4 tickets to visit the zoo. Which attraction will cost more money for a group of 12 people to visit? How much more? Take a second to copy down the question. So to solve this problem, I'm going to first determine how much it costs for 1 ticket to go to either the Science Center or the zoo. I'm going to do the Science Center first. For the Science Center, I can do the $36.75 divided by the 3 people. When I do $36.75 divided by 3, I get $12.25. That means the tickets cost $12.25 per person. So if I need 12 tickets, I would do my 12 people times the $12.25. $12.25 times 12 is equal to 147. So for 12 people, the Science Center costs 147 people. Now I'm going to do the same information for the zoo. The zoo is $51 divided by the 4 people. 51 divided by 4 is equal to $12.75. So that means that the zoo is $12.75 per person. Again, there are 12 people, so I can do 12 times my $12.75. $12.75 times 12 is equal to 153. So the zoo will cost 153 for 12 people. So it says which attraction will cost more? The zoo will cost more. And they also ask by how much more. So to find out how much more it is, I can do 153 minus 147. And when I subtract those, I have 6. So the zoo will cost more. It will cost $6 more. The second question, is there a proportional relationship between x and y in the following table? Explain. Take a second to copy down the question and the table. To determine if there's a proportional relationship, anytime I want a proportional relationship, I'm going to divide y by x. So I'm going to do that for every single situation, and I'm going to be sure to show that work. So 5 divided by 8 is equal to 0.625. 7 divided by 10 is equal to 0.7. Now since these are not equal, I don't even have to do the rest. I know right away that there is not a proportional relationship. In order for there to be a proportional relationship, every single y divided by the x has to be the same. Since these first two were not the same, the rest don't even matter. I know right away that that is not a proportional relationship. The next question. The relationship between x and y is proportional. When x is 3, y is 51. What is x when y is 204? Take a second to copy down the question. Now, there are two ways I could do this problem. I'm going to do it both ways. Since they tell me that the relationship is proportional, I can set up a proportion of y over x. When y is 51, my x is 3. So it should be 51 over 3 is equal to, I want to know what x is, so I'll have an x to x, I don't know, when y is 204. So now I can just cross multiply. 204 times 3 is equal to 612, and 51 times x is equal to 51x. I can divide both sides by 51. 612 divided by 51 is 12. So I have x is equal to 12. Now the second way I could do this problem, since they tell me that the relationship is proportional, I know I can set up my equation as y equals kx, where k is my constant of proportionality. And the way I can determine what the k value is, k is always equal to y divided by x. So when I have 51 divided by 3, that would be equal to my constant of proportionality. 51 divided by 3 is equal to 17. So I know that my equation can be y equals 17x. Now the problem wants to know what is x when y is 204. So I can substitute in 204 equals 17x. Now I can just divide this, both sides by 17. 17 cancels out, and I'm left with 204 divided by 17 is equal to 12. So either way would work, and you still end up with the same answer of 12 and 12. The next problem. State if the following equations represent proportional relationships. If it does, state the constant of proportionality. Take a second to copy down all four equations. This first equation should be y equals 7x minus 3. A proportional relationship always has to be in the form y equals kx. That means that there can be no number added or subtracted on. It just has to be y equals kx, where k is your constant of proportionality. In this first equation, we had this minus 3 added on here, so that would not be a proportional relationship. In the second one, we just have y equals 3.4x. Since there is nothing being added or subtracted, this would be a proportional relationship, and our k value would be equal to 3.4. In our next equation, we have y equals x. Again, there's no number added or subtracted on here, so yes, this would be a proportional relationship. And whenever you have y equals x, there's an imaginary 1 here. So in this case, our k would be equal to 1. And the last equation, y equals negative 2.1x minus 2.1. Since I have this minus 2.1 here, this would not be a proportional relationship because there's that 2.1 subtracted on at the end. Does the following graph show a proportional relationship? Explain. Take a second to copy down the question and draw the graph. We will answer these other two questions after. In order for a graph to be proportional, there are two things that has to be true. It has to be a straight line, and it has to pass through the origin. So I look at my graph. My graph is a straight line, and it also passes through the origin. So yes, it is proportional. And when it says to explain, you just have to state that it's a straight line through the origin. Now the other questions ask us, what is the constant of proportionality, and what does the point 2,6 represent in the situation? Remember that our constant of proportionality is y over x. So I can pick any point in my graph and divide y divided by x to determine my constant of proportionality. I have 2 points on my graph. If I pick this first one, I can have 3 as my y value, and my x value is 1. So that means that my constant of proportionality would be 3. If I look at the other point, my y value is 6, and my x value is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's another way to test if your relationship is proportional. I ended up getting the same number for my constant of proportionality. And the last question says, what does the point 2,6 represent in this situation? This is my x value, and the 6 is my y. So I look at what my x value stands for. My x value stands for the number of cans, and my y value stands for the number of tennis balls. So that means that this point 2,6 is stating that there are 6 tennis balls in 2 cans. So you just have to look to see what the x and the y represent in the given problem. And the last question. At the store, 3 bags of cereal cost $21.75. At this rate, how much do 5 bags of cereal cost? Take a second to copy down the question. So to determine the cost of 5 bags of cereal, I'm going to first determine the cost per 1 bag of cereal. So I'm looking for the cost per 1 bag. When I'm looking for the cost per 1 bag, I need the cost divided by the number of bags. So the cost is $21.75, and the number of bags is 3. $21.75 divided by 3 equals $7.25. So that is $7.25 for 1 bag. But the question asks for how much do 5 bags of cereal cost. So I can do my $7.25 and multiply that number by 5. $7.25 divided by 5 is $36.25. So that means that it's $36.25 for 5 bags of cereal.